Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
Dumelang afsheni ralocha sanvanani mulweni. My name is Naledi Mfoloe, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the latest edition of the African Diaspora News Channel, where we unravel the stories that shape our world and our communities. Another failed assassination attempt on the life of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, who is the leader of Burkina Faso, has left the continent on edge. And while we celebrate his survival, I think the question looms large, which is, why is the West so intent on silencing this revolutionary leader? Now, since coming to power in 2022, Traore has emerged as a beacon of hope, and not just for Burkina Faso itself, but also for all of Africa. He is part of a new wave of African leadership, which is actually actively rejecting the shackles of colonialism and defying Western control and actually reshaping the future for his people. And yet, right, it is precisely this bold defiance, that this commitment to Pan-Africanism, that has actually made him a target. Now, let's cut through the noise, right, and get straight to the point. I think that the West has every reason to want Ibrahim Traoré gone. For them, I think he's not just another African leader, but he is a direct threat to the centuries-old exploitation of African continent. And this is about much more than Burkina Faso. This is about the entire Sahel region, and indeed all of Africa, rejecting the dominance of foreign powers that have used all our resources to fuel their own prosperity while keeping us in a state of poverty and dependence. And for some in the West, right, seeing Traoré challenge France's influence in countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger is actually a nightmare, because that influence is crumbling and they will do anything to stop that collapse. Now the big question we need to ask ourselves as Africans is this, right? How far will the West go to stop these revolutions from within? How much will they sacrifice, not just in terms of money or influence, but in terms of human life? And perhaps more dangerously, how much will they rely on internal traitors to help them to do their dirty work? Now, it's no secret, right, that there are forces within Africa itself who have long benefited from the status quo. And those who benefit from the Western power, whether in government, business, or military circles, these internal collaborators can be just as dangerous as the foreign powers, as I believe they hold the keys to the gates of power and have a vested interest in preserving the system that keeps them rich while the rest of us suffer. And I think that the question now is, how can leaders like Traoré identify and eliminate these internal collaborators who may be working with foreign forces to undermine their efforts? We know that the forces who benefit from Western influence in Africa are well-resourced, well-organized, and have long networks of influence across the continent. And let's not sugarcoat it, right? The West has always employed covert operation to maintain control. We saw it during the Cold War, and we see it now again today. So it's no surprise that Ibrahim Traoré, as a young and dynamic leader who unapologetically is anti-West, would be targeted. His rise isn't just a political shift, but it's a threat to the status quo, and the West won't take that lying down. Think about it. Ibrahim Traoré didn't just challenge the political landscape of Burkina Faso, he changed the geopolitical status of the entire Sahel region. When he came to power, he wasted no time in kicking out the French troops, shutting down the Western military presence, and cutting ties with France, who is the Burkina Faso's former colonial ruler. He's put Burkina Faso's resources and power back in the hands of the Burkinabe people, and he's challenging the French narrative that has kept this region under neo-colonial control for decades. And that is an impeccable shift. And for those in Paris, Washington, and London, I'm sure it's a nightmare they're desperately ready to put to rest. But here's the thing, right? Why are African leaders like Traore still so vulnerable to these attacks? Why, after all these years, are we still dealing with assassination attempts on African revolutionaries? I believe it's not just a matter of foreign powers acting against us. It's about how our own governments, our own institutions, and our own systems allow these things to actually happen. The West may be pulling the strings from behind the scenes, but it's often the traitors within our own ranks who facilitate these attacks, whether knowingly or unknowingly. And as Africans, I believe we need to wake up to this truth. Our enemies aren't just on the outside, they're also in the corridors of power, in the elite circles that profit from Western involvement. We need to be vigilant. We need leaders who understand the stakes and who can protect not only their lives, but their missions. Because when leaders like Ibrahim Traoré rise up to challenge the system, they aren't just fighting for themselves, they're fighting for the future of Africa. And the big question now is, how do we protect our leaders and our revolutionaries? How do we ensure that the voices of Pan-African empowerment are heard without being silenced by assassination or sabotage? And one thing is clear, right? The West's grip on Africa is weakening. And they will fight to hold on to it, but the time has come for us to unify, to be strategic, to make sure that our revolutionary leaders are protected from both external forces and internal betrayers. Now, Ibrahim Traoré's survival today is a victory, but the real battle is still ahead. It's not just about one man. It's not about his one revolution. It's about protecting our collective future. It's about ensuring that the work of revolutionaries like Traoré continues and that no one, whether foreign or domestic, can stop us from reclaiming Africa's destiny. Now, that's just my opinion. What is yours? Please, let's engage in the comment section. We really want to hear from you. What do you think about this? And while you're at it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. That's it from me. Till we meet again, it is goodbye for now.